Kwara TV.
Abdulrahman ìjọba rere ìjọba tí irú rẹ̀ ò kọ́ ọmọ nílùú Kwara o pẹ̀kan tí kẹjá sọ́rí àlìtì ká sọ bó ṣe jẹ́ ìjọba ọdún kan lórí àléfà òbí ọdún mẹ́jọ àwọn kan tó ṣe kó tó dípò papò èmi kan sára o. ìjọba gómìnà Rahman ìjọba rere ìjọba tí irú rẹ̀ ò kọ́ ọmọ nílùú Kwara o pẹ̀kan tí kẹjá sọ́rí àlìtì ká sọ bó ṣe jẹ́ ìjọba ọdún kan lórí àléfà òbí ọdún mẹ́jọ àwọn kan tó ṣe kó tó dípò papò èmi kan sára. ìdùnnú bí sáyà o bọ́lá kalẹ̀ o kọrin bí ẹni jẹ́sùn ìyá ẹ̀bùn mi lórí má forí ológbò wẹ́tẹ̀kùn kó jọra.
Kwara State is experiencing a new wave of human capital and people-focused infrastructural development, and it is all thanks to the vision, passion and dedication of the leadership of the state. Possessing a wealth of natural resources and human capital, Kwara State is blessed with a fusion of cultures, ethnicity and religion. Sadly, the state had never attained its full potential owing to perfunctory leadership. The story changed in 2019 when Mallam Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq took the oath of office to serve the people of Kwara State and ushering an era of true prosperity. Armed with passion, vision, and heart steeled to work, Governor Abdulrazaq hit the ground running. Commendations on the impact of the sterling government have continued to pour in. The Senate had felt the success of its first year to give us luck. Second year proves that the is set for the win. From health to education, infrastructural development and social investments, positive change has swept across the state of harmony, filling the citizens with hope. Agilibi, like many rural communities in Kwara State, had lost hope of ever benefiting from good governance. One of their greatest needs was getting a good learning environment so that their children could get quality education. In desperation, the locals came together and contributed money to build a school for their children. The result of their effort was neither conducive nor ideal for learning, but it was all they had, until Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq and his team paid a visit to their community.
Àwọn ọmọ iléèwé wọn máa ṣàṣà bẹ́ẹ̀ lé àwọn tíṣà wọn máa ṣàṣà bẹ́ẹ̀ lé kò wá sí dààmú bẹ̀ mọ́ kò sí nira láàrin wọn. Abdulrahman la ó dìbò fún tó bá ti tó yá. Abdulrahman la ó dìbò fún tó bá ti tó yá.
Like Agidibe, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq did not only refund the women of Onila monies used in building a block of classrooms, he also constructed more classrooms for them.
Àwo tí ẹ mọ̀ pé torí àwo tí ẹ mọ̀ pé gọ́fúnà lè wá sí ìlú wa àwo tí ẹ mọ̀ torí pé ó bá wa lójijì pé nínú igbó tá a wà yìí torí ó ràn àwọn ọmọ wa lọ́wọ́ kò jẹ́ káwọn ọmọ wa jìyà ṣùgbọ́n a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq níbi tó ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lélẹ̀ ó ti gbé ìlú wa sí òkè àti ó ti ṣe gbogbo everything fún wa.
The government also gave them water, a first in their community. For many Kwarans, this attention and investment in education is somewhat novel. Prior to this regime, the basic education sector in Kwara State was neglected and treated as a matter of secondary concern, as educational facilities were left in deplorable state and teachers were owed months of salaries. But the story is changing now, with some 43 basic schools undergoing various renovation works.
Now that our class have been renovated, we are very happy, and our teacher come to teach us even though it is raining. and we are no longer panicking. We are in a safe place to learn.
To commemorate his 61st birthday, the governor donated 5 million naira worth of teaching aids, including braille machines, to the School of Special Needs. Earlier, the school's ICT center had been renovated by the administration, with solar-powered lights installed to provide illumination and extend students' learning hours. Aside investing in educational infrastructure, where over 300 schools across the 16 local government areas will experience massive renovation, for the first time in the history of Kwara State, teachers' recruitment has taken a new turn. It is no longer business as usual. The deliberate steps have been taken to recruit the best minds in the state through a nationally acclaimed, transparent and rigorous exercise that is set to change the education sector in Kwara State for the best.
Close to over 50 of the candidates made first class for TESCOM. And those ones who are selected, 985 of them were 2-1. Then some figures for 2-2. We never pick anybody with pass. They got this job on merit. The exercise was transparent, objective, and you don't need to know anybody before you get the job. There's significant improvements.
Actually, I'm very, very glad that it is very free without knowing anybody, without having any connection. So I applied without knowing anybody, and here I am doing the documentation, because the whole process to me was based on merit. So I want to applaud the Kwara State government for a job well done.
Sometime in 2020, pharmacist Amid Alege developed symptoms of what he believed to be malaria. As the days went by, his health deteriorated, and after several tests, he was diagnosed with COVID-19. He was immediately isolated and admitted. Having practiced pharmacy for many decades, Alege was impressed with the facilities at the newly established Kwara State Infectious Disease and COVID-19 Isolation Center, and the warm reception he and several other patients received from the doctors, nurses, and their support staff. All this would not have been possible without foresight on the part of government. Months before the dreaded coronavirus was first recorded in Nigeria, the state government took a proactive step by rehabilitating the moribund oxygen plant in Sobi. And as of December 2020, the state had committed at least 2.7 billion naira to tackle the outbreak and its aftermath. The expense included allowance for medical personnel in the front lines, purchase of military-grade Toyota Land Cruiser ambulances, automated ventilators, and several other intensive care unit ICU gadgets and equipments, mass production of face masks, digital thermometers, and personal protective equipment PPE, as well as food palliatives for the populace, anticipating the aftermath of a total shutdown of the state. General Hospital Ilorin is not left out. A few months ago, the Governor Abdulrazaq-led administration started the construction of a 12-bed ICU. Today, it has been completed and fully equipped, making it the biggest state-owned ICU in central Nigeria. Major works are also ongoing in different parts of the hospital, with expansions in ophthalmology and dental departments.
I think the effect of all these little changes here and there, before even the big changes will come on, has started showing. Our statistics is showing that the numbers of patients that we are seeing in the hospital has increased tremendously. All this will end up having a positive effect on the health indices of the state. People get health care at much affordable price, so I believe it's going to improve everything.
Beyond investments in medical facilities located in the city centers, the government is also ensuring that quality care is accessible to all Kwarans, especially those at the grassroots. Today, many primary health centers across the state are receiving new looks And the expectation is that the renovation and reconstruction of these facilities will not only reduce traffic to major hospitals in the cities, but also bring quality care closer to the people.
The government has been doing it, we are hearing it, but now we are seeing it. So which means they've done what we want. The area is now good and beautiful. The turning up of the patient are now increasing. For example, let's say before the renovation, per month we may have about 200 patients, but now it rises like 400 or more than that.
As part of continued efforts to bring quality and affordable healthcare to ordinary Kwarans, the state government has also embarked on free surgeries and other associated care for Kwarans across the state. For people like Mrs. Adelere Justina, who could not afford the medical bill for a life-saving surgery, the free surgical intervention across the state has given her and many others a ray of hope.
I just thank God the surgery was successful. And when they showed me what they removed, I even thought it was like 3 in the right breast, but it's even up to 10. I've been hearing that government have been doing this for free for people, but I've not been partaker of it, but this is the very first time, and it's something I can never forget in my life because it's a record on its own. At last, I'll be feeling the correct breast.
Ọlọ́run ti bí wọ́n ṣe bá mi ṣe tán gan mo ṣàdúrà fún wọn pé Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ wọ́n mọ̀ sí ṣe.
Ma ponna mama do madon doctor gan boy Ìlọrin am mogo again anku very perfect. Doctor on ki anku well trained doctors madon gon dagma o da me gon ku problem gon ku ba ni go pi.
Ma ga àdúrà ke luda ni mi luda tó fi nepi bo afia. Ma san ìwà abokun nepi afia ma no se kenna. Masabu ke ludane masabu ke gbe ke no anzin ke ni luda sabu karane luda to an e an go ta musu.
Water, they say, has no enemy. But for decades, many communities in Kwara State struggled to access potable water.
Omi odò la omi odò le. Ó jìnnà díẹ̀ o. Bá sì ṣe pọn pẹ̀lú màlúù lájọ pọn tájọ mú ọrùn wọn wọ̀ sílẹ̀ ní gbámúbámú ká mọ̀ ṣẹ́gun gidigidi ọ̀tún láti àgbé wálé náà tí wọ́n bá lọ pọn omi ní lódò kò mọ́ ó máa ń fa ibà sí wa lára ó sì máa ń jẹ́ kí kòkòrò mú wa lára.
Under the administration of Governor Abdulrazaq, the State Ministry of Water Resources, through the Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency, RWASA, has been revived and tasked with the responsibility to build 400 boreholes across the 16 local government areas of the state. One of the earliest beneficiaries of that initiative was Alateko in Moro local government area, where residents had to walk several miles to fetch water from a stagnant and muddy stream, the only source of water in the community.
Komikuti nirta dia minjarai, minjongirai, milonirai. To minjai kesa minkuti nirai da. Mingadi muna dia nana gomnati wadani mingoda naki ala mingoda naki gomnati.
Apart from the provision of water in scores of rural communities, primary healthcare centers and tertiary institutions have also been provided with potable water through the construction of boreholes. Several waterworks have also been revived to ensure sustainability of the water projects across the state, while new ones are being built, especially in Jeba and Oyo. The rehabilitated waterworks include Asadam Waterworks, Kayama Waterworks, and more. Kwara State is known for its expansive swaths of farmland, which, combined with its large workforce of hard-working farmers, is a recipe for successful agricultural outputs. However, one key challenge has stood in the way of many farmers, and indeed the entire state, of achieving true food self-sufficiency. This is the menace of bad roads.
tá à ń gbé ní 2,000 kó tó di pé ọ̀nà bàjẹ́ 5,000 là ń gbé ń sìn.
To address the many challenges facing farmers in the state government embarked on massive road rehabilitation and reconstruction works across the state. And by the first anniversary of the administration, the State Ministry of Works and Transport had overseen the partial or complete construction and renovation of 120 township and urban roads, as well as many bridges linking major communities across the state. By the second week of November 2020, work had been completed on the Kayama Township Road, the Arigun River, Ifelodun local government area. A good number of these new roads, which are situated in rural communities and agricultural hubs, are already making a huge difference in the lives and business activities of the farmers and farming communities that reside along those corridors.
adúpẹ́lẹ́ gómìnà Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq torí pé ńgbà tí ó tiẹ̀ ti dé bí tó àti gbọ́ tó ti dé tí wọ́n ti sọ pé yóò ṣèrọ̀rùn fún wa àwa fẹ́ rí rọrùn ọ̀wọ́ Ọlọ́run sì ṣe fáwọn náà. àmàrin àmọ́ sákọ́ àmàrin àmọ́ yan Abdulrahman ní bá ṣe títí àwa.
Aside the creation of new roads and the rehabilitation of old roads to make lives easier for farmers in Kwara State, the administration of Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq has made other significant investments and interventions into the state's agricultural sector.
A fi àsìkò ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gómìnà fún ìrànlọ́wọ́ torí àgbàdo ó nídìí ohun èlò amú irúgbìn gbàù bí fertilizer yóò tún mú kó rọrùn fún wa láti lè jẹ́ kí
In May 2020, the state government launched the year's planting season with a series of interventions which included implementation of a subsidized mechanization scheme for 2,500 farmers, the provision of subsidized fertilizers to 3,000 rice farmers, and supervising a subsidy program for an additional 6,000 smallholder farmers. The state also facilitated the Central Bank's Anchor Borrowers Program ABP for 680 rice farmers, which resulted in 1,300 hectares of land being cultivated in the 2020 dry season. Through the Kwara State government's efforts, 5,000 rural women are poised to benefit from the CBN Broiler Chicken Program. For youth interested in farming, the government facilitated the clearing of 500 hectares of farmland in Adanla community, Ifelodun local government, as part of the private sector-driven Farm Kwara initiative. This will be replicated across the 16 local governments in the state to engage young people in agribusiness and enhance food security. Through partnerships and innovative interventions, Kwara State is set to take its place as a true agricultural capital of Nigeria. The government, for the first time in many years, now has over a dozen new tractors to support farming in the state at subsidized rates.
Today's commissioning of 15 new tractors and implements flags off the mechanization component of the transformation plan. I must mention for the record that the administration did not inherit any functional tractor in 2019 when we assumed office. This step speaks to our seriousness to truly transform how we farm and how we put Kwara on the map of agribusiness.
In a 2020 poll conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics, it was estimated that 8 out of 10 Kwarans were considered poor. This dire statistic did not change much until the coming of the administration of Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq. In response to the plight of the poor and indigent in Kwara State, Governor Abdulrazaq has initiated several projects and interventions under the Kwara State Social Investment Program. In November 2020, the Kwara State government announced the disbursement of stipends once every 2 months to 10,000 indigent and vulnerable adults that were 60 years and older as part of the interventions aimed at minimizing the impact of COVID-19 and poverty on the older generation in the society. Tagged Owu Arugbo, stipend for the elderly, but officially known as Kwara State Conditional Cash Transfer KWCCT, it is one of the 4 components of KWASIP, being administered across the 16 local government areas of the state. Owo Ishowo is also another initiative that is making great impact in the state. The 2 other components of KWASIP are Kwara State Job Creation and Youth Empowerment Program, popularly called KPAR, which is to assist Kwara youth to acquire and develop lifelong skills, as well as the Homegrown School Feeding Program, HGSF, Onje Ofe, which is to ensure that pupils in public primary schools in the state get at least 1 nutritious meal daily. The HGSF is to be administered with the support of the federal government. These 4-pronged interventions, from which nearly 50,000 people have benefited across board, are an unprecedented and institutionalized anti-poverty initiative in the history of the state. The administration has also launched an ambitious program to support Kwara-based businesses owned by young people with interest-free loans. Named Kwarapreneur, the scheme is meant to productively engage the youth and create jobs and sustainable socio-economic growth. A successful business plan is to get between 350,000 and 3 million interest-free loans with a moratorium of 3 months.
I'm excited, firstly, for this program for Kwara State, for at least granting us the opportunity to showcase what we have, our ideas. At the end of the day, if I'm being shortlisted, it will help me in establishing my business. It will help in generating more funds to the state. Then it will also help in employing more youths.
From intervention in education to health, provision of water and energy, and social investments, the administration of Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq is focused on making the lives of Kwarans not just easier, but more prosperous. The state government is setting its gaze on another achievement: to make Kwara a most desirable place to live and work. Between 2019 and 2021, the government has committed huge resources to upgrading sporting facilities in the state. Also, a new twin squash court, adjudged the largest in the country, is being constructed, while the existing one is being rehabilitated. Basketball and volleyball courts now wear new looks. Revamping of the Olympic-sized swimming pool and handball court, as well as changing rooms. Added to these are the Kwara Football Academy hostels, which have equally been renovated to improve the living standard of students and officials of the academy. For the first time in the history of the state, a tech hub is being birthed. Dubbed the Ilorin Innovation Hub, it is designed as a unique space where tech entrepreneurs, students, researchers, and investors could be brought together to advance the adoption of technology, create jobs, and boost the state economy. When completed, the Ilorin Innovation Hub will offer training in coding and software development, among others. A state-of-the-art visual arts center, the first of its kind in West Africa, is also under construction. It is to provide a platform for visual artists, filmmakers, and exceptionally talented youths to nurture and develop their skills. It will also add another angle to the state's entertainment and tourism potential. Under the leadership of Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazaq, Kwara of the future is being designed to generate sufficient internal revenue to run a 21st century state. In the words of the governor, Kwara means business, and our target is to make our state one of Nigeria's friendliest in the ease of doing business.